Hi, welcome to Stone Upon Stone. We find ourselves these days in what I would call a culture of rage. Everywhere we go, there are people getting angry. Everywhere we go, there are people telling us that we should be angry about this or that. And it doesn't seem like things used to be this way. It seems like this culture of rage has come about more recently. Why do we get so angry? One reason is it makes us feel powerful. We feel like we're powerful when um, when we're angry. Anger fills us with an energetic feeling, and that can make us feel more powerful. But the truth is that being angry actually is disempowering. It actually makes us less powerful because we're less in control of ourselves and we're easily swayed by the arguments or the suggestions of others. Being angry makes us more suggestible, actually. It turns us into virtual lemmings who will run off a cliff because other people are doing it or because we're being guided toward that by those who would try to hurt us. So, how did we get to this point where we're so angry? What is it that started this culture of rage? I think part of it originally was that there were some real abuses. Things happened that were actually uh, wrong, things that we should be angry about. But somewhere along the way, we lost touch with what was actually an abuse and got angry about things that we shouldn't be angry about. Now, as I said, some of it was in response to actual abuses, actual injustices, and I'm not saying otherwise, not at all. I'm not saying that there weren't things that we should be angry about. But what we're seeing today is not entirely based on that. And so I think we need to be really careful because what we're seeing today is anger that is amplified beyond what is justified and after what is justified and without what is justified. So what do I mean by that? Well, we've amplified some things beyond what is reasonable based on what happened. So we're getting more angry about something than we should. Um, One example of this is that when people don't respect us, or don't agree with us, or don't accept our beliefs, we get angry. And a lot of that is far beyond what is justified by the lack of respect or the lack of acceptance. It is not reasonable, for example, to get mad at someone because they say that they disagree with us. It is not uh, justified to treat someone who says they disagree with us as though they are being violently opposed to us, or they're treating us like we're not human. When someone treats you like you're not human, that is a reasonable thing to be angry about. But when someone says that they disagree with us, that is not something that is righteous for us to get angry about. And sometimes we get angry about things long after the actual abuses have happened. Um, it's not really reasonable to get mad at someone today for things that happened generations ago. And sometimes we get mad about things that don't really even involve the people that we're mad at. So we get mad at people who aren't the people who did what we're getting mad about. And that's just not that's not fair, to get mad at someone who wasn't involved in what you're mad about. Because we don't have any control over what other people do. So it's not right to get mad at someone for something that they weren't involved in. But we see this a lot in politics and on social media, where we treat people as though they were involved in an action just because they're part of a group. This is not a good way to uh, act as a society. We need to deal with abuses that happen, but we don't need to be blaming people who weren't involved. So, who is it that's making us angry like this? Well, ultimately, it is the enemy of all humanity. But closer to home, this is being aided and executed by our leaders, our spiritual, social, and political leaders. And we have to ask ourselves, why is this happening? Why are our leaders pushing this attitude and this culture of rage. Maybe their anger was also genuine at first, but the thing is that most of these issues that there is genuine anger about have been things that have been resolved. In some cases, the people who did these abuses have been punished already. In some cases, those who did the abuses have already died. In some cases, the genuine abuses have really lost their relevance because the victims have overcome. It's not something that is continuing to cause problems for them, but we're still angry about them. And we've come to a point where this anger is not serving justice. It's not about doing justice or resolving the abuses. It's about hurting people who very frequently are not involved in what we're angry about. And that is as bad, if not worse, than the things that we are getting angry about. Because anger won't bring back whatever was lost, and lots of things were lost. I understand that. But we've come to a point where we're asking people to get angry, we're asking people to pay for things that they cannot resolve, either because they weren't involved or because they don't have the means to resolve the abuses that took place. Anger is not going to bring improvement in these situations. And so we have to ask ourselves, why are we continuing to be angry? Especially in some of these cases where things happened decades or even generations ago, those of us who are alive today are experiencing wealth that the generations that uh, suffered the abuses would have been scared to see, because we are living in a time of wealth that actually is not sustainable. Our continued upward trends of wealth are actually leading us to instability and inability to continue. Most of us growing up today, most of us who are alive today, didn't grow up knowing these losses personally. And that's just absolutely ignoring the times where what's being pushed as something we need to get angry about isn't a real abuse. I've been talking so far about entirely about genuine abuses. So very frequently, uh, these the victims of these abuses have actually overcome the results of those, and even where those results were personally known to us as loss, they were known secondhand. So if anger doesn't make things right from abuses and it doesn't serve justice, who does it serve? Join me next time when we'll explore more about who's rattling our cages